Okay, welcome to this video about tracker style jungle breaks in Ableton from scratch. I'm hoping to do a series of videos because doing just one video on this would be a couple of hours long, I think. So I thought I'd split it into manageable chunks. And this first one will be about creating a drum rack preset with a breakbeat of your choice. I've got a couple of breaks here just from a sample pack, and the idea is that we're going to chop them across a drum rack. Nothing revolutionary about that, but with a few other controls tweaked, settings like the LFOs on looped segments of a break will give you some really interesting effects used along with some velocity automation drawn in on clips. And then I think we'll look at follow actions and FX automation and stuff in later videos, because that will just take too long. So I've got a break here. Got a nice little roll at the end there, and the idea is that we're going to chop it across a drum rack. So I've pulled a drum rack in, I'm just going to drag the break onto C1, and then if I draw a MIDI note in here, it's going to play the break from the beginning, every bar. It's a bit quiet at the moment, that's because the volume's set to -12 where it was just full whack there. So I'm going to map a few settings at this point, because when I start copying this across the drum rack, then I want those settings to be preserved. And I'm going to map the pitch as well. So I've just mapped volume, decay, sustain, release, and the pitch. And going to leave that as it is for now. I'm going to set the velocity to 35% as well, which is kind of default, I think, on a lot of Ableton devices. This is just my default simpler for dragging things onto drum racks, which you can set up in your user library. Defaults, dropping samples, is it? On drum rack. Yeah, there we go, it's there. So you can just drag your own presets into that. Anyway, so we've got the start of the break here. I'm going to bring this up a bit to 10. Let's see what that's like. Great. Okay. So I mean, you can already get some interesting results just with a little bit of automation on the velocity. Yeah, okay, so far so good. Right, so that's the kick, and then I'm going to move this one here, and I'm going to move this to the snare, which is on the second crotchet beat. And I'm probably just going to put it, I mean, you could get right up on the transient, but let's just leave it there for now. See what that sounds like. So you notice there's like some flanging going on because both samples are playing at the same time. We can get around this by choking one to the other. So if they're all in the same choke group, then when any other sample in that choke group plays, it will stop the previous one. So hear what that sounds like now. Yeah, cool. Maybe not there, maybe there. That's just really what the break was anyway. yeah, cool, you get the idea. So just going to copy over some more, and let's see where we can put this one. Let's create a new clip, and so that's the snare. That's obviously because I just copied that across. So what happens if we start what's here? Another kick. But it's slightly different, obviously, because it's starting. It's got like a double kick at the end, or a triple even. So maybe you could just start that there. So we've got some slices already there, and you don't need many. I mean, you can go as you can create as many slices as you like. Maybe if we just move this here to this bit here, see what that sounded like, just for argument's sake, because I have created another preset that we can just look at, that I'll guide you through. So let's see what that sounds like. Not that one. Check we got that nice and tight on the transient, or as near to it as possible. I'll try and get it where it meets the line, so it's like 0 amplitude. There we go. Sounds quite jungly. I mean, we could probably just drag that one. And I tend to just leave the loop right at the end. I mean, the idea with this is that no two breaks are the same, and no two breaks are the same at different tempos. And so sometimes different breaks work better than others. Different slices work better than others. You have to use your ears and you have to try things out and tweak them. But when it comes to kind of recreating that tracker sound in Ableton Live, this method is probably the most effective most of the time in the least amount of time possible. I've tried max devices, lots of max devices, and kind of buffer slicing, slicing using mono sequencer. I might do a video on using mono sequencer for breaks, because that's also pretty cool as well. But this method definitely works best most of the time, quickest as well. Okay, so I've copied those some across there, and I'll just show you the looping. What looping the snippets with some LFO applied to volume and pitch can do. It can kind of create those cool jungle effects we know about. So I'm just going to copy a snare across. You might want to name them as you go. Oh, that's a kick. That's a snare. This is sometimes what I do. Kick. And also I've mapped these so you can really kind of tailor your break. That's a snare. I tend to call those double like checkers. Just easy to see when you're trying to program stuff in. And that's the snare. We're going to make this a snare roll. Okay, so I pulled the release down a bit, so that can really help tighten things up. Come into play more later on as we kind of build up some sequences. So here the idea is we're going to loop a snippet. You'll notice as well I've left warping on just beats. That's why I map the pitch, so that it's easy to get that kind of re-pitch break sound at different tempos without having to. You cannot map warp modes to macros, so it would be a real pain if you had like 64 pads programmed and you had to go in and change the warp mode for all of them. So it's really easy to just do that, and it's a similar effect. Okay, so we've got our little looped snare snippet here, so let's just pull that in there. Okay, so you notice it's like completely out of time at the moment. And this bit is down to taste, and it does depend on the break you're chopping. Like I said, some breaks work better than others. The name of the game is experimentation and listening to what one break is doing, and some bits of any break will be better than others. You know, there's bits of the amen break that are better than others that I prefer to use more than other measures in it. So there we go, you've got a bit of a snare roll there. So maybe we'll just leave that like that. We'll just do another one, and we'll make this a bit faster. Nice. And I'll try and, I mean, that sounds okay. I can sometimes spend too much time like trying to line up things perfectly. So if it sounds all right, just roll with it. Okay, so got that. That's nice. Now I'm going to try and introduce a bit of LFO on the volume of the sample. So that can give some really nice kind of crescendo snare rolls. Okay. So I'm going to set this to 270, so it's cycled through 90 degrees 3 times, and we're now at the trough of the sine wave, and I'm going to leave it on a sine here. I mean, that's a prime example of like breaks timing, is this, you can hear a bit of a click with how it is set at the moment from this slice. It's subtle. And that's one way around it, is that you can just draw in a kind of fill before it. It might work better, and some slices work better in different combinations. There we go. And again, you want to tweak things to taste. I mean, you could maybe even bring that. Great, and then I'm just going to do a couple more. Let's go fast, and let's do an LFO. Leave it as it is. Yeah, that's it. That's what I'm talking about. And obviously you can do, sometimes it can be nice to put some pan on there. I should say all of these are set to re-trigger, so they happen every time a slice is triggered. And then I'm going to take this one, sorry, that one, and I could do some pitch rolls now. And let's go on to snare pitch rolls. Okay, let's just program something else. Going to go. Now I'm going to use a different type of LFO. I'm going to use a ramp up in this case. And I'm going to set that to 180, so it starts from 0 And the idea is it's just going to give us a pitch, an increasing pitch amount on the sample, ramped up as it loops. Yeah, nice. I'll just leave that as it is. I mean, you can go faster. Let's do it as faster. And let's do this one now. This will be faster one. Let's, you can signify if it's up or down. Sometimes I do that. It can be useful when I'm programming big sequences. The idea is that, once this is set up, it's easy to get going very quickly. There's a bit of setup time, as there is in Ableton for anything decent, so this is going to be a pitch roll. Let's try again. Going to set ramp up 180. Experiment with these settings to taste. Yeah, great, and we'll just do one down to illustrate. Call that snare pitch roll down. And set it to ramp down. Great, there we go. There's some nice interesting patterns set up here. And I would probably be tempted, if I was doing this myself, as I have done already, to slice some more bits. So we've got more of the break to choose from. Okay, and when I've done that, I would save that as something. Normally, the name of the break, which is what, ping break rack 1, and I'd save that. And I have created one already, because I did already record this, and left the keystrokes on my screen recorder. It was just, you couldn't see anything I was doing. So, okay, so yeah, and I've made them kind of jungle colors, which is cool. And I've programmed in a couple of sequences here, 4 bars long. And I've chopped more of it across. Let's turn that on. And I've got a couple of sequences here. So, yeah, that is it really. Let's hear what they sound like and maybe tweak the decay, sustain, release a bit so you can really hear kind of what it can sound really tight or quite, expressive and more sustained. that kind of really like tight sound can sound really good when you got loads of stuff going on. And yeah, that's it really. So we've got our drum rack preset, and in the next video I think I'm going to talk about follow actions and how they can really help us get a tracker sound in Ableton. Okay, thanks for watching.